All right, we're back. Another High Tide Imbibe, and this time we have another pumpkin beer. We just did the Breton Brewing pumpkin beer. Now we have Propeller's Pumpkin Spiced Ale at 5% alcohol by volume. This is one that sort of went downhill for a few years, but since they brought it back and they started canning, they seem to have reformulated their beer, and it tastes good again. At least it did last time I had it. We'll see if it holds up. Yet again, they say Pumpkin Spiced Ale, but what they really mean is just pumpkin beer or spiced beer, whatever. This actually does have pumpkin in it. It's not just one of those ones where it's, oh, we got the pumpkin spices, but no pumpkin in it. We brew this ale using Howard Dill's world-famous pumpkins from Windsor, Nova Scotia, featuring our blend of seasonal spices, including cinnamon, nutmeg, and clove. This beer is pumpkin pie in a glass. So I don't know what all spices are in here. I don't know if they have all spice in this, but they do mention clove there. That's something that I don't believe the Breton Brewing one had. So that's a slight difference there. So looking at it here, it is kind of a just more standard copper color, not quite as brilliant as the Breton Brewing one. A little bit more just standard copper instead of like kind of bright orangey copper kind of thing. Looks really good though. This tends to maintain its head a little bit better than the Breton Brewing one, and you can regenerate it fairly well. Great aroma here. Noticeably different than the Breton Brewing one. The cinnamon is really big in the actual aroma, so you get more of a sweet, perfumey kind of thing here with the underlying kind of pumpkin pie crust kind of thing underneath, with the malt coming up and the nutmeg sort of supporting it. It smells really good. Doesn't smell like sickly sweet or anything. Just smells very inviting and nice. Yeah, very nice. So cheers. We're going to go right to the taste. Lighter in body than the Breton Brewing one, slightly. This one's much more spicy than the Breton Brewing one. It's definitely a lot sweeter. That cinnamon really comes out in this. It has a very kind of cookie frosting vibe to it. Like a frosted, some sort of frosted cookie, like something you would find in wintertime or any sort of like fall, winter holiday season. But this one definitely switches from that sweetness right up front and immediately sort of switches over to a pretty pronounced dryness in the back end. So again, that sort of nutmeg and that clove really comes out in this one. If you're not a fan of cloves, you're not going to like this because there is a big pronounced clove kind of dryness in the background here. But I feel like it balances pretty well with the nutmeg. It gives you a 1-2 punch. The not the nutmeg, the cinnamon. It gives you a 1-2 punch here. The cinnamon up front, and then it immediately switches right over to the clove, and a nice lasting dryness that I like. So that works for me quite a bit. As a pumpkin beer, style-wise, this one is a little less complex than the Breton Brewing one. So I'd probably throw about a... Let me think here. Let me drink on it just a little bit more first. Indulge me for a moment, if you will, dear viewer. Yeah, you know what? I think this is going to be the... it's going to switch around from what I did with the Breton one. The Breton Brewing one, I gave an 8 to style and a 7.5 to overall preference. Here, I am going to give a 7.5 to style, and I'm going to give an 8 to overall preference because I just find this a more enjoyable drink. Although I've definitely had better pumpkin beers as far as like what I sort of understand the style to be anyway. So if that makes sense to you guys. So there you go. 7.5 for style, 8 for overall personal preference, enjoyment, whatever. And Propeller continues to make a good pumpkin beer again. So good on them, because there were a couple years where this stuff was just watery, spicy slop. But now it tastes like a beer again. It's got a good little simple 1-2 punch, like I said, going, and it works as a seasonal spiced ale. Perfect for this type of weather that we're getting into, the cooler weather, although not cool enough, quite honestly, if you ask me. Still a few warm days, and we're already at the end of September, which is kind of pissing me off. But anyway, you don't need to know about that. But you do need to check out High Tide Imbibe again when I come back. If you don't, I will find you, and I will kill you. Later, guys.